Hey guys, hope you're all well. Now in this video I'm basically going to be breaking down a trade I took earlier this week. I'm going to break down a trade about 1 to 10 RR which was shared with our premium members also. I'm going to break down how and why I took the trade in particular, as well as the fundamental aspects of why we saw such volume in the market and how we were able to capitalize off a gap in the market. Now what we initially trade off is using different methods. Smart money is part of it, but it's not it's not based solely around that. It's our concepts that we initially trade with is based around structure and liquidity in particular. But I'm gonna head over to the charts now and I'm gonna break down why I took this trade, as well as show you the entries we took, just so you guys just so I'm transparent with the entries I took and why I took them in particular. So why don't we head over to the charts now? Before we just jump on right into the breakdown, I just want to give a little context. Now in the weekend there was some news with Russia and Ukraine, mainly regarding the US sanctions against Russia. Now what have the US have done, they've disallowed or basically limited the allowance of most Russian banks from SWIFT, which is basically how commerce is transacted. So basically, Russian rubles need to be moved into dollars, yen, euro in order for international commerce to take place. And what the US have done is they've limited, or they've banned SWIFT for all the Russian central banks to have access to SWIFT. So obviously, when you have such high impactful financial news like that, in when the markets are closed, you're going to expect to see a gap in the market. So Monday morning we saw a big, or Sunday evening we saw a big gap in the market. So if I go ahead and break this position down, you'll see that there was a clear gap on the left side right here, right, and that was at market open. So it's about 30 pip gap. Now when you see gaps in the market, these gaps will always be filled. Okay, you have to keep that in mind. Gaps will always be filled because the market has to offer a fair value, right? It has to. It's just the way the market works. So whenever you see a gap in the market, right, if you back test, you'll see, anytime there is a gap made in the market, it will always be filled. So you need to keep that in mind. So that was one of the ways, one of the reasons why, in particular, I took this trade. And just to give you a little context of the fundamental aspect as well. So it was a more risk-off sentiment. So why don't we go ahead and break this down? So this trade was about 1 to 10 RR, maxed out about, let's say 1 to 14, 1 to 15 RR, but I targeted the lows of this level, mainly to fill in the gap and take this liquidity at this level. So if we look on the higher time frames, just to break this down, initially I did also send this breakdown into on Instagram, but what initially you'll see is, in these scenarios, what you'll see is market range, right, and they'll push in and you'll see a big impulsive move, right, and that's initial manipulation. So this is a clear manipulative move, right? You'll see markets like generate liquidity, range, induce buyers and sellers into the market before they take them out, whether it's the lows or it's the highs like that. Okay, so you'll see it. I'll show you example right here, right? So you'll see a clear range right before you see a spike up, price pushes down, and it comes right back up to retest a significant level of supply on lower time frames, right, before you see that push down. And that is initially what I saw on UCAD on the daily. Okay, and I do anticipate price to come up, retest another level of supply. I'm anticipating the price to come up a little higher and then continue on down. Okay, that is what I'm anticipating on UCAD. So yeah, so that is a higher time frame perspective on this trade in particular. So I just want to give you guys that outlook. So now, okay, let's just go on replay mode so you guys can see. Now, after I saw that, right, initially what I was looking for was Asia liquidity to be cleared. Now, if you backtest this enough, what you'll see is Asia liquidity is always, most of the time, is cleared. Okay, it's always cleared. The high or the low will be cleared. Whatever session, it doesn't matter. Asia liquidity will be cleared. So initially, what I was looking at is how price reacts coming into London session, especially Monday, given the market sentiment, as well as it being the last day of the month. You'll see a lot more volatility because big players such as banks or institutions will close out their positions. So that creates a little more extra volatility. So that's why I usually like to trade at the end of each month or quarter or fiscal quarter, because you'll see a lot more volume in the market. And we as traders obviously profit of volatility. So volatility is king, as you say. So initially, what I was looking for is clear of the highs or the lows. Now, initially, with the high time frame perspective, I'm looking for Asia liquidity of the lows to clear. So initially, as we come into New York session, if we break this down on the 1 minute time frame, what I'm seeing right here is order flow, at least currently. So what is happening is this point here, right? It breaks structure on the lower time frame, right? This point of structure is broken. So now I was ideally looking, and I saw price to come retest this level, which it has. And now, ideally, I'm looking for price to break this structure point again to see this is consecutive order flow. Sell orders are being taken at this level. Now, if you further backtest, you'll see before a high or a low is taken, what you'll initially see is the midline of Asia session taken, retested. So that is actually what we saw playing out. So we can see the consecutive order flow now. Now, if I continue play this, again, clear momentum showing that sell orders are being accumulated at the midline. So that's another good confluence built. Okay, so if we write this out here, USD, right, just to give you guys an understanding of the confluence and confirmation that I built taking this trade. So first, we had the high time frame align, right, as I showed you guys the pattern, the manipulation pattern that we saw align. Then now we're seeing Asia session. So that's another confirmation we have. And now initially what we're seeing is order flow being built. Okay, so that is just to give you guys an understanding. So initially, now what I'm looking for is another retest and another consecutive break of structure, because that represents good or order flow or selling momentum entering into the market, orders being distributed or accumulated. So that is initially what I was looking for. Now we've seen that clear break of structure, so we see a clear point of push or momentum was derived from this point. So at this point, I'm very glued on to this point in price. This is my key level at this point, and I'll keep my eyes on. And exactly what do I see? Price comes up, retests the zone, liquidates the high. Right now, what I'm initially looking for is for the confirmation that I know that sell is going to take the low of Asia, right? Because it always does. Now is momentum to come in, and that's exactly what we see now. Momentum slowly comes in and breaks structure at this point. So now I know I want to take I'm ready to execute this trade, because remember, the low has not been taken just yet. Okay, we have order flow built already, and we're seeing consecutive break of structure, okay, on the lower time frames at least. So now I have two sessions that I'm keeping my eye out on. One is here, right? Let's mark it. Let's leave it grey. One is here, and initially what I'm anticipating is price to come back, retest this level, and then I can look to short price down using lower time frame confirmations. Okay, but why don't we let it play out? And as you can see, price just failed to come into my level. It just failed. It just missed it by a few pips. So at this point, I didn't rush into the play or into the trade, because I knew that there was a point that it could just come back and retest it. So I was being very, very patient. I'd only enter if price was indicating it was ready to move without the retest. So I'll remain patient, and in essence, what you'll see here is you can see a sort of a build up in price. It's price is basically squeezing, right? Initially, its price is getting ready to squeeze, but I want to keep an eye on the low, right? I'm not getting ready to execute until I see this low get taken. So what do we see? Exactly that. We see price take out the low at this level. So now my eyes are glued on. Now I'm looking at this point here where the breaker structure was derived from on the 1 minute time frame. I'm looking for a retest of that level and a breaker structure of this level, so I can look to enter in at this level. And what do we see? That's exactly what we see. Price breaks structure and it comes back to retest it again, which is my final confirmation, and that is when I took the sell here. Now what I did was I split my risk. I took 1% with my tire SL and the other with the larger SL, which is just above here, because I knew that price could have come up here. It didn't, but with the larger SL, with the more conservative SL, you're less greedy, and including the risk, I did want to factor that in as well. I can take on a little more risk with a larger SL as well. But so I just want to be more transparent about that. But yeah, so initially what we see now, the lows are taken, another consecutive breaker structure, retest of my point of interest, and then boom, we see volume now enter into the market. At this point, I believe it was about this point I moved my stops to break even, but there was an interest. This point interested me because it was a potential point for a re-entry, a scaling. I mean, a scaling at this point. So I was very interested in a scaling at this level. So why don't we go ahead price play, because we can see a lot of momentum was derived from this point here. So if you continuously let price play, look what happens. Price comes back to my level of interest, breaks structure. So ideally now what I'm looking for is a retest, or at least price come back into a premium level. And what I mean by premium level, a premium level is basically when you want to sell above the 50% level. Okay, that's what you refer to as a premium level. And a discount level is what you ideally want to be buying. You want to buy below the 50% level, so you're buying at discount. Premium is sells, discount is buy. So that was what I was initially looking at to take the scale in. However, the market did not provide that opportunity, so I wasn't greedy. I didn't really get the scaling I wanted, but price came back, and if you'll see here, if we push up on higher time frames, what do we see? Price is ready to push down, sorry. But remember, we want to wait till this full gap is filled, because remember, gaps will always be filled in the market. So yeah, so if you look now, if I scope down, let's say 3 minute, what you'll see here is liquidity being created. Now we have a clean equal lows. What we refer to as equal lows is just liquidity. Liquidity is being built. So now, ideally, I was looking for a potential re-entry scaling at here, right? Scaling here just to target this liquidity here, because I know that price will at one point take this liquidity out. It's very probable. So I knew that this was a very clean level that I could potentially look for lower time frame confirmations to take another sell down here to target the lows of the gap. However, again, if you see, price just missed my point. It happens sometimes. You can't be too upset. You just have to go with what the market offers you. So again, we saw another clean bounce off that level, liquidity push up, and then liquidity was clearly taken at that level. So I need to be still in the trade, not to take any partials off just yet, and be patient. And that's exactly what I did. It came back and took the lows exactly as I was anticipating. Now, about 85% of my position was closed here, and I left a small runner just to come target the lows of this level, because I knew this on high time frame. This is a very very important point of interest where price has a very high probability of reacting to. So that's what I just wanted to push, keep a partial here. But as soon as these lows were taken, I did trail my stops just above this point, because I knew if price ever came above that point, the trade, the momentum has completely shifted and the trend has changed as well. So price ended up coming down, taking the lows and hitting my targets very cleanly. Yeah, so I just wanted to give you guys a little breakdown of and my thought process when it comes to taking trades, and ideally what I think about, because ideally I don't trade very often. I look at the most high probable positions they are, and I look to keep more risk into those trades. So I trade less, but initially I earn more because of that. Okay, it's all about quality over quantity. Okay, so yeah. Also, I did share this trade with the members for complete transparency with the inflated SL, just because it was more conservative and you can use more risk in that. I'll leave a screenshot of that somewhere, just so you guys can see. Again, factoring in the higher of that level, my first POI, as I mentioned before. So it gave a very clean position, high probable trade. And yeah, so I just want to give you guys a little understanding of that breakdown in terms of psychology, as well as the technical aspect of it as well. So I do hope you guys enjoy that video. If you do guys have any questions, you can send me a DM on my Instagram. I'll link it in the description. Also, if you guys want to join our premium analysis service where I share all my trades with SO and TP, or if you guys are generally interested in learning how to trade full time as a career, we have a pro trader mentorship. But in order to join that, you do have to fill out a form. So if you guys are interested in the mentorship, you can send me a DM, or I'll link it below for the form. The reason I do that is just so that I want to make sure that if you get accepted, I know there's 100% chance I can help you get to where the level you want, whether it's getting 6-7 figure funding accounts or consistent profitability where you can scale your accounts to make a living off. So yeah, that is the reason why I do it. I don't want to take on member just for the sake of it. So yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'll keep out more videos like this, so please do let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to see more breakdowns, more vlogs, or something along those lines. So yeah, I do hope you guys like that. Comment, like, subscribe, and you'll be seeing a lot more of me. So with that said and done, I'll see you guys shortly. Bye bye.